So, hi, I am Joylene Leandalar Constantino from 2ITB, and I am here together with my fellow group members to present our midterm project in object-oriented programming. So, now let's proceed with our main class. So, as you can see, we have the import java.io buffer reader semicolon for importing buffer reader method, the import java.io exception semicolon for importing IO exception method, the import java.io.input stream reader semicolon for importing stream reader method, the import.java.utilities.arraylist semicolon to store dynamically sized collection of elements. And then the last one is the import java.utilities.list semicolon to allow positional access and insertion rather of elements. So we also have the public static void main string open and close squared bracket, args, close bracket, rows number format exception, comma, IO exception, semicolon, or open curly brace rather, to read the text from a character input stream or buffering characters, and also to provide the efficient reading of characters, arrays, and lines. We also declare the list of collection of students and subject objects. So we have the list open angle bracket student close angle bracket list students equals to new array list open angle bracket student close angle bracket the open and close bracket semicolon, and the next one is the list open angle bracket subject close angle bracket list subjects equals to new array list open angle bracket subject close angle bracket open and close brackets and semicolon. We also use the returning methods such as integer and string. So we have the int select equals to 0 semicolon, the int id equals to 0 semicolon. The next one is the string first name equals to null and the last name equals to null semicolon. The string course equals to null semicolon. The string subject name equals to null semicolon. The next one is the int unit equals to 0 semicolon. And then we also use the regex pattern, the subject validation pattern, and we also have the boolean for the exit loop. Now let's run the code. So as we run the code, this information will be displayed. The welcome to our student menu driven and the choices that the user has. So now let's try to choose the number one. So for example, we enter the choices number one, as you can see in the screen. So, and then after entering the number one, we are going to ask to enter the student ID. So, for example, I use my student ID number, which is the 2101351, and then my first name, and then last name, and then the course, which is this IT. And then after entering those information, it will be added successfully or it will be recorded. On the other hand, if we entered a string or a letter for the student ID, an error will occur or this will be displayed. The error, the value type is not an integer. So we really need to make sure that we are entering a valid value. So now let's move forward with the choices or the choice number two or the option number two, which is the creating a subject record. So for example, as we enter the choices number two, we're going to enter the subject ID. For example, I used to be 108 as the subject ID, and then the subject name, the object-oriented programming, and for example, the subject unit is 3. So after entering those information, it will be added successfully to the subject list of the student. And then let's proceed with the option number 3, which is about enlisting a subject. Okay, so for the option number 3, as you can see here, I enter the number 3 and then enlist a subject to a student. You have to enter this student number, which is my student number 2101351, and then it will display the available subjects for the available subjects under that student number. So upon entering that, we need to choose a subject ID that will be enlisted under the name or under the student number. Upon entering the student number and upon choosing a subject to be enlisted, it will be displayed like this. For example, the subject ID that I choose is V108. So it will be displayed like this, and it will be enlisted under the student number. And for the rest of the option, it will be discussed by my fellow group member.
Good day, sir. I am Rain Michael Del Santos, and today I'm going to explain the choices number 4 to 8 for the main program in our project. As you can see, if we run the program, the number 1 until 8 will appear and it will serve as the choices. Then, if I'm going to choose the number 4, the program will remove a subject enlisted with the student by simply entering the student ID and subject ID. Only integers will be accepted for this, otherwise there will be an error. But if we choose option 4 without enlisting a subject, a message dialog will show up just like you can see in this screen. Then, if we are going to choose the option number 5, the details or the information about the student will be displayed, and just like what I said earlier, only integer will be accepted for this one, otherwise a message dialog will show up, and if we enter the right value needed, the program will successfully display the enlisted subject under the student name. Now, let's proceed with the option number 6 for this one. The program will display all the details for all students, including the student ID and the enlisted subjects. But if we didn't create a new student record, or the student ID is not existing in the program, the message is there are no students in the list will show up. For the option number 7, it will display all student details enlisted in selected subject. For this one, only the subject that the student enlisted will be displayed. We just need to enter the student and subject ID, which should be an integer to successfully display all the details needed, otherwise a message dialog will show up again. Last, the option number 8, which is the exit. If we choose this one, the program will automatically exit and the message "Thank you for using our student menu driving" will show up. That's all. Thank you.